Every time he tries to start a sentence, he doesn't even get to half of it and he's being interrupted by her. And I'm like, Care, let this poor man breathe. I feel bad for him.
In the tell-all part 1, we see the villains crumble in the chaos of their making. Also, we learned that most of these couples don't even sleep together, so it's safe to say that happily ever after is a myth in this franchise. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We're here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, the tell-all part 1. Can you believe that we're getting 5 parts? 5? It's a little ridiculous, and from the looks of how this episode went, it's going to be chaotic. I'm recording this on Monday. I just got back from Puerto Rico. I landed and I immediately was like, I have to watch this. All of the little snippets, all of the tweets that I've been seeing have been crazy, and I watched it and I was like, so as you guys know, if you watched the episode, they're going a little crazy. They've gone rogue, okay? They've put the entire cast in this beautiful, humongous mansion, and they're going to have them live together through the filming of the tell-all. We see them when they arrive, before they start filming, and we're gonna see them fall apart. So that means that they're on set criticizing each other's relationships, and instead of talking ish about each other in the car ride home or in their hotel, they're going to have to face each other at home. Immediately when I heard this premise, I was like, Angela, Jasmine, and Big Ed in one house. I was like, that is hell to me. This episode, as fun as it is to see, you know, the Avengers of 90 Day Fiancé get together, as fun as that was, it was very chaotic and really hard to follow. So what I'm going to do in this recap is just focus on the big plot points of the episode. Of course, not every couple is going to be covered. That's because they're going to have their spotlight in future episodes. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know. Of course, some other people will be mentioned throughout their segments, but just to keep this as organized and as focused as possible. And I'm going to include the time mark for each couple, just in case you're sick of one couple and you want to skip ahead. I'll put it in there, okay? So before we get into it, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, let's start with Gino and Jasmine, okay? I'm starting up with them because they were one of the first couples that were focused on that were introduced in this episode. First of all, they're in this car ride leading up to the mansion. Jasmine is wearing this fur coat and she's looking out the window and she's like, oh, snow. And I'm pretty sure they're filming in Jersey. I'm like, girl, this snow is like sprinkles compared to Michigan. It's fine, okay? Gino is next to her, and he looks like he would rather be anywhere else. He does not want to be next to Jasmine. They have so much space in between them. It's like they're leaving space for the Holy Ghost. It is like they are far from happy, okay? So Gino, who looks like he's being held up at gunpoint, is like, so is there anyone that you're looking forward to seeing today, Jasmine? She's like, no, but I'll be respectful as long as they're respectful to me. But if they get in my face, I'm going to get in their face, basically. Which is like, Jasmine, we know. But then she says that and then quickly makes it known that she's very unhappy with the fact that she's going to be living with Ed, which I agree. But then she's like, and Angela, I don't think Angela knows how to deal with human beings. And I'm like, funny that you would say that. And you know what? I'll give Jasmine credit. She can play nice. I don't think Angela can play nice. But still, her calling out Angela, I'm like, you're not too far behind, babes. So they get to the mansion and Jasmine's like, if Gino were to buy me a house like this would solve all of our problems. And you know, if this was episode 1, I would believe her. But we've seen her for so many episodes. We know that she would find a different issue in the mansion, okay? She'd be like, this mansion isn't big enough. So, whatever. But she's like, Gino, and she leaves him with all the bags and goes straight in. But when she walks in, her coat is unzipped all of a sudden, and we see that she's wearing her sash from the faux pageant, because I just can't believe that it's real. Why is she wearing that sash with a regular outfit? Why would she do that? They're looking around the house and she's angry that she doesn't have first dibs on the bedroom because Patrick and Thais got there first, and she's whining about it, okay? But she's whining about it because, one, it's Jasmine. She thinks that she deserves the best room, but also she reveals that her and Gino need separate rooms because they have not been sleeping together for months, even in their own home. I'm not sure that I'm surprised necessarily, given how we saw them in their last episode. I'm just surprised that she would disclose that information here and not on set, you know? Yeah, they don't sleep together. And apparently, she's like, you can sleep with me if you're going to sleep with me. But if you're not going to, then I don't want you in the bed. And Gino's like, I feel like you're coercing me. And she's like, no, it's just my standard. And already when the rest of the cast comes about, like, the narrative, particularly with the men, is like, Gino, why don't you just sleep with your wife? And he's like, you don't understand. Like, you're not getting the treatment that I'm getting. And he says that he's never had this issue before, but it's huge with Jasmine. And it's complicated, and it'll only get more complicated as we go through their segment. Fast forward to the next morning when they're supposed to shoot the tell-all. Gino is already in the dressing room. Jasmine appears disheveled with her luggage, and she's like, oh. And she reveals that they had a huge fight in the morning and that he just wants to make her miserable and she just wants her own space. He wanted to get dressed in the room and she didn't want him there because she doesn't feel comfortable being naked around him. And apparently that caused a blowout fight between them, and he left her with all the bags, which she's pissed about. She's just on edge, and so she arrives to set and he's in the dressing room and he won't get out because he's like, I'm already here, I'm getting dressed, you get out. Tit for tat, okay? So what's clear to me is that Gino is no longer backing down, which, you know, I wish we would have seen this since the beginning, because now I get why he's doing it. He's fed up, but I feel like now every hill is a battle. He doesn't really give her any grace anymore. There isn't any, like, there's no like sweet spot. There's no let's talk it out. I feel like he automatically gets on the defense because he's just tired of her walking all over him. And while I can understand why he's doing it, it doesn't make him any better. You know what I mean? It doesn't solve anything. It makes him look immature. It's so chaotic, you guys. It's like they're trying to make each other more miserable than the other, like trying to outdo each other. Just divorce. Just be done. And so when they're officially on set, you know, they look like them. Jasmine looks like she's in a Cinderella pageant. She does look beautiful. Gino looks like Gino. Sean is like, so how are you two? Where are you right now in your relationship? And Jasmine's like, well, I love Gino, but I don't know if he loves me. And he's like, I do love you. I do. And she's like, I don't feel it, Gino. She's like, I don't know if you do because you don't make me feel like it. Everything is about you. And the thing is, that could be true. Gino could be very selfish right now, and he could be like, I want things my way. What I find funny, what I find interesting is that for the longest, things were always her way, the way she wanted, when she wanted it. And it wasn't a problem then when it was one-sided. It was always about her until like a few months ago. You know what I mean? So that's interesting, Jasmine. But what I do find worrisome, though, is that she refers to the things that he's doing as controlling. And that's a big allegation. And if that is what's happening, like, that's a problem. And I think what makes it hard with the situation is that Gino likes to lie and Jasmine loves to embellish. So the truth is usually somewhere between the lines. That makes it difficult to know what to believe. But two things can be true, and they are both doing each other dirty right now. So we get more into that because she's, you know, complaining that he controls everything that she does, what she buys, when she can go to the gym, things like that. And I think Lauren asked her if she had her license, and she said no. I mean, he's like, And he's like, we've been working on that. And she's like, well, yeah, but I've had to do everything by myself. And I had to have a friend take me. I wonder who that friend is. Because we've heard some things, right? But she's like, yeah, a friend had to take me. And he's like, this is the problem. Jasmine doesn't give me credit for anything. Because what do you mean I didn't help you with this? I researched. I made the appointment for you. And she's like, yeah, but after 7 months. So you see how she's like, oh, you didn't do anything for me. But then it's like, but you didn't do it when I wanted it. Which, like, it could be an issue. And I agree that he should have started those things early on. But I think in her mission to like say he doesn't do X, Y, and Z, she's like, he doesn't do anything. And that is the source of his pain with her, that he feels like he's given so much financially, emotionally, and she doesn't show any gratitude. So yeah, she's saying that he doesn't support her, but she also can't do anything by herself. And I'm like, which one is it, Jasmine? Say exactly what's happening, and that way people can better understand you. But right now, when you exaggerate and when you emote the way you do, it's hard to like really figure out the truth because it's just all very contradictory. And I mean, what is clear is that they're both inflicting pain and they're miserable, right? But then Sean is like, so let's talk paperwork. Let's talk paperwork. Gino, have you filed? And Gino's like, yeah, I filed, and we're waiting for like her working papers, and then after that we'll do green card. And Jasmine's like, yeah, you did it, but after 7 months. And again, I agree that he should have gotten started on that stat because people feel, isolated. People need their independence. And again, they rehashed the whole gratitude thing because Jasmine's like, I don't feel like I have to be, thankful for something that you committed to. And yes, he committed to do it. And he's been committed to providing for you for years before you came here. But that doesn't mean that you don't express gratitude. I'm not saying that you have to get on your knees and freaking worship him. But every time, there has not been one time that Gino has expressed that he wants like appreciation, that she hasn't been like, oh, the American always wants this. Every time on camera that we have seen it, she's never just been like, babe, thank you. You're right. Every time she gets defensive, it's like a chip on her shoulder. So I think that they both have to give a little. She should show gratitude. But in turn, Gino, you cannot dangle that over her head. That is extremely problematic. And a few people in this franchise love to do it. I'm thinking of another person in this season. If you know, you know. Two things can absolutely be true, and they are both in the wrong, okay? But then they bring out Michelle and, what's his name? Dana, Gino's cousin, and they are very clearly Team Jasmine, which, I'm not a fan of Jasmine, but I feel like they have no reason to be against Gino unless Gino is doing dirt, because they're his blood, And they're like, Gino, you don't really do nothing. You don't really offer support. And you complain about taking her to the gym 15 minutes away. And I agree with them with that. Gino said that he quit his job to help Jasmine assimilate to life in America, yet he's complaining about the gym, which she's obsessed with. He's complaining about doing paperwork that'll help her be a citizen here. And when she asked him to not do any of those things and just go back to work, that would be support, he's like, no, because what you really need is me here. Yet she says that he's just watching TV. And when they ask him, what have you been doing this whole time? He's like, well, I've been doing the paperwork. Gino, I've had your back, but you were not doing paperwork for 7 months. You cannot lie to us. 7 months doing paperwork? That is ridiculous. That lie should have never come out of your mouth. But yeah, Michelle and Dana are like, Jasmine is such a great communicator, which I disagree, because I think good communication keeps in mind intention, keeps in mind delivery, and the whole time Gino's just shaking his head, but not really adding much to the situation. and the few things that he said do not help his case. But yeah, you guys, this had me thinking. They said that Gino, is lazy and doesn't drive her around, so she mostly takes Ubers everywhere. You guys probably heard the rumors, the alleged boyfriend of hers that she met at the gym. If Gino is really just not active in her life and she's taking all these liberties, taking Ubers everywhere, and he thinks that she's at the gym, she could easily be somewhere else because he's not checking for her. So if she was allegedly cheating, I can see how she would have plenty of opportunity. That's I was like, this is illuminating. I wonder. But they go back to the whole intimacy thing, and Jasmine is like, yeah, we haven't been intimate in 8 months. And again, everyone with the same old tired rhetoric. Oh, well, that's your wife. Just screw her. She clearly wants it, and that'll solve everything. And Gino's like, no, that's not how that works. These fights are really painful. They're bad. Like, I'm not doing it. So the spin that Jasmine is taking with this is that he's controlling her by withholding sex, and I disagree. I know that that's possible. I'm not discrediting that it happens to some people. I don't think that that's what's happening here. I think that Jasmine's mouth has gotten her in plenty of trouble. I think that she has taken advantage of how forgiving Gino has been in the past. And I don't think that she ever thought that he would have a limit. Her saying that he's being controlling by withholding intimacy is very backwards to me because he's told her what the source of the pain is. While I agree that intimacy is very important in a relationship, in order to have a healthy relationship, you need to have good intimacy. I think that that goes hand in hand. They don't have a healthy relationship, therefore, I don't think that you're just entitled to someone's body. This whole narrative that you should be screwing your spouse just because it makes me uncomfortable, and Angela and Jasmine both are being very loud with this, and I just want to ask those that agree with them to reframe it and think to yourself, how would I feel if Big Ed was saying that to someone, to another young woman? Would you be like, oh, well, just screw your man, just screw your man? You would probably feel icky. So just like we hold men to a certain standard, we need to hold women to that as well. It makes my skin crawl, just the entitlement. It should be consensual. And if you have to force someone to do something, it's no longer consensual. And pleasure goes both ways. It's not just for you. It's for both of you. And some people cannot check out. What I'm thinking particularly with Jasmine and Gino, the many times that she's literally made him feel like his manhood is not good enough. The times that she compared him to her ex Dane. Like, these are things that you can't take back. And she has done it repeatedly. And she's crying about this, about feeling rejected and all those things. And saying that she's, apologized many times to Gino, and that's great. But Jasmine has had a pattern of apologizing for saying something vile and then saying it again the next time they get into a fight. So you weren't really sorry, and you didn't really learn anything if you repeated it. So when she's like, well, I've apologized so many times. Yeah, and you've repeated it many times. So like, it's a terrible situation to be in, and I can empathize. No one wants to feel rejected, and like, especially if you already feel insecure about your body, and then you're also feeling insecure about your relationship. That's the last thing that you want, but it takes two. And like, I don't really think she gets why they're there. Instead, she's diverting the blame. And I understand that this is a reality show, and I understand that like you're supposed to say salacious things, and like that keeps people locked in. But I also feel like these are also real marriages, and the things that you publicize, like, they stay with people forever. And I feel like Jasmine just doesn't have limits, and that may also be part of the problem. Because again, she's here like, I've never seen Gino fully naked. I don't know if I don't believe that. I do believe that he probably doesn't take his hat off because we've seen him with a shower hat, like I believe that. But again, Jasmine likes to embellish, so I'm like, girl, okay. But again, it's one of those things where like there's no type of self-reflection. How are you going to complain that you supposedly have never seen him naked in the same episode that you had a fight because you didn't want him to be in the room to see you get dressed? Do you see what I mean? Like they're just constantly in like a loop. The last part of the segment is rehashing the corn situation. This is where things get a little fuzzy, okay? So Jasmine's like, we haven't been intimate. I feel like he prefers corn. And the problem is that, his ex before me was a sugar baby because, he's in the habit of paying for companions. And I love that she was like, before me. Jasmine, he allegedly met you in a sugar baby website. Remember in your first tell-all when you were like, yeah, I didn't know that was that for, but no, I've never been a sugar baby. Girl, I say that because she loves to shame his exes like she's better. And I just feel like, let's not shame SW workers. Just keep it cute. Like, that was an unnecessary aspect of it. But the point of it was that one of them, I guess, is on one of those fan websites, if you know what I'm talking about. And apparently the last thing she saw was that Gino was searching said ex's corn videos. Now that is a problem. Because I don't have a problem with a partner looking at corn videos as long as it's not an issue, like an addiction. I wouldn't have a problem, like if I'm not around, However, I would have a problem if it's someone that someone that you like can see at the grocery store, someone that you've dated before. Like you're seeking out their content specifically. Yeah, that's an issue. And that's when I was like, Gino, you're wrong. And that has my wheels turning because I'm like, if this is someone that you've been with, I think this is also like leaving a gray area to potentially cheat. Like that is what I would be mad at. Yeah, that's a little too close to home. I'd be fuming. And that's where they leave their segment in this episode. I'm sure we're going to get so much more. But let's move on to the next couple. Okay, you guys. So the next couple is Liz and Big Ed. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when Liz arrives to the mansion, there's already a bunch of cast members in the house. They see her come in and they're shooketh because they thought she would for sure show up with Big Ed. They were like, she would have for sure forgiven him for like the 15th, 16th time. But she's like, no, by myself, solo dolo. So she's having a drink with them in the kitchen, having girl chat, and literally like a second later, in comes Big Ed. And everyone's like, you guys, it's so awkward. He's going around hugging everybody. He gets to Liz. He gives her like a, hey, buddy. And like they're like, hi, friend. And then all of a sudden they hug. And it is the longest hug.
Una amiga, una amiga.
Yeah. My bro.
Una amiga.
My bro.
Un abracito, algo. Un besito.
Yay.
Wow.
It was uncomfortably long. Everyone's just like looking around like, okay, like, do we say something? Like, I was like, Liz, get him off you. But she was in it. And then he starts crying. And I'm like, the theatrics have started early, okay? We've seen this before. He loves to look up and have his like doughy eyes. And I'm just like, Humpty Dumpty, cut it out. Cut the cameras, right? So the next scene, Liz is, with the girls. They're like, girl, he got emotional. That was weird. What's going on? Give us the tea. Before Liz could say a word, he's in the background lurking. And they're like, okay, eventually clear out. And Liz is just standing there and he begins yapping away about being sick, about not missing San Diego. And Liz is like, why are you talking about yourself? Like, how did you just hop in thinking that I want to hear about you? Like, how about, hi Liz, you look great. You look amazing since you've dumped me. Wow, the glow up. And I get it. Like she wanted some sort of acknowledgement of like, I'm still alive without you. But instead he jumped into the regularly scheduled program of The Me Show. I just thought it was funny that she thought that because she was no longer in his life, he would be interested and show some respect. Girl, you were with him for too long. You know this is how he is, and if anything, now that you're not in his life, it's worse. But the whole time that I was watching this, I was like, I hope they gave Liz a bonus, because to have to endure another moment with Big Ed, and like, you know, this is the attention that he wanted, you know? And it doesn't help that she's kind of like feeding into it because she's being so nice. And she acknowledges it. She's like, I thought that I was going to be a witch to you. But here we are acting like, you know, everything's normal. And again, he starts with the crying face and he's like, I've missed you. And she's like, it's like, girl, that don't mean nothing. Remind yourself that this guy literally canceled your wedding without talking to you. Like, you're being beyond nice. Oh, I also forgot to call out that when he cried in front of the group, she was like wiping his face. And I'm like, girl, that is way too intimate. Like, cut the cord. I just felt so bad watching her cry with him because he doesn't deserve to see her shed any more tears. Like, she lost herself in that relationship. And yes, I know that like she has to take some responsibility and like she needs to find self-love and all of the things, but it doesn't change the fact that she loved this person. And you know, this is a hard reunion. Apparently they hadn't talked in 6 months. And after being with someone for years and years and being cut off for 6 months, like, no matter who you are, that's hard. And so they're having this moment, and like, I know that it's fake. Liz is in it. But his agenda becomes clear because Ed is like, you know, I want people to see a different Ed in this tell all. And I'm like, oh, this is the continuation of your rebrand. Your actions must be affecting your pockets if you want to all of a sudden switch up. And so while they're having this talk, they stop because they hear someone come in. And Liz suspects that it's Lauren. And as you know, Lauren and Big Ed hate each other. And she's like, wouldn't it be funny if it's Lauren? And then they walk out and she spots Lauren and she's like, baby, are you ready? Ooh. Girl, don't ever have that slip up again. Don't do it. Don't do it. When I heard that, I had to rewind it because I was like, Liz, don't you have a man? So we get to the next day. They're on set filming the actual tell-all. Sean Robinson is ready to be messy. She's like, so Ed, have you adjusted to the bachelor life? And instead of saying no, yes, he's like, well, I've been an usher at my church. A relationship is the last thing that I've been thinking about. He's really been trying to do this Christian rebrand since the end of the season because now he lives in Arkansas with his family. Yeah, this Christian rebrand is as forced as his therapy rebrand was. Remember when he went to like 2 therapy sessions and he was like, yeah, because my therapist told me that I need to process this. I was like, sir, he loves to find a shtick to weaponize, and this is just the flavor of the week, okay? But yeah, he's like, you know, dating is the last thing on my mind. And Liz is like, that's BS because I know that you were on the apps a month after we broke up. And everyone's like, oh. And instead of leading with, oh, you know, I was just on there to see what's out there, I'm lonely, he's like, well, you know, it takes 2 to break up. That has nothing to do with the question. This man would never take accountability, even if it came with glue, even if it came with an attachment. He's just like, I don't want it. For everyone else, they replay the scene where Liz recounts how she heard that her wedding was being called off, as well as the taco pasta of it all. We find out that on top of the pasta being spicy, it had meat, and Riley is a vegan. This man-child had the audacity to sit there and call Riley a big baby because she wouldn't eat his crusty taco pasta. The disrespect. He's vegan. It's cruel to do that to her, but also it's not like she's an adult that can just fix up whatever on her own. She's a child and you have to provide for children, and she's under your care. Order her something. Make her an alternate plate. The fact that he didn't care to provide some sort of accommodation for her is in itself a major red flag. So again, I say, remember when he called a child a baby and he's acting like that? He's still throwing blame on Liz, saying that the taco pasta drama was because of her temper. I'm not saying that Liz doesn't have the potential of having a temper, because they both trigger each other, but he loves to provoke. And it's not even about Liz, it's about her daughter. And the fact that you went out of your way knowing that she doesn't eat that, not only to give it to her, but then to give it to her in a condition that's not fit for a child. That's the problem. But he's like, no, Liz, she's angry. I've been hiding her anger for months. But what's juicy and also telling of their chaotic relationship is that they show us the extended scene where they're in the confessional, I guess, post wedding cancellation. And he's like, you know what, Liz? Yeah, go back to San Diego and be a waitress all your life. That's all you're going to be. And she's like, and you have a small peen. And you know, that whole situation wasn't shocking to me because, one, I'm like, wait, Liz, you were down bad for that shrimp, okay? So if anything, I would keep that to yourself, leave with a little dignity, and just never speak of it, only to your close friends, because that shrimp peen had you hooked, had you looking crazy on national TV. That's one. Two, it only highlighted how ugly we know that Big Ed can be. And I feel like this is only the tip of the iceberg of the things that he tells Liz to make her feel small. You know what I mean? So I wasn't surprised by it. Like, we've heard worse than that, a viral voicemail. If you know, you know. If you haven't heard it, look it up. A trigger warning, it is disturbing. But to segue into another drama with them, Angela's like, you know, I think that she still loves him. And Sean Robinson is like, well, Liz, do you? And Liz is like, I will always love him. I can't deny that I will always have feelings for him. But no, I am not in love with him. And I wish that Liz would stop propelling his propaganda of, I'm a nice guy deep down, because he's not. But I also am weary about being judgmental, because this was an abusive relationship, and I know that it's, you know, she's not that far removed during this filming, and so she obviously has a different lens. And I hope that a year from now that has changed, but she's still in the thick of it, you know? So I'm trying to be understanding of that, but I wish that she would stop being like, he's a nice person deep down, because he's had years to show us, and he's only shown us how rotten he is, you know? Then she starts crying, and she's like, you know, it takes someone special to lift you up. And then she reveals that she has someone special in her life that lifts her up, that has even been allowing her to process her demise of engagement with Big Ed, and like is open and offers her support. And they bring him out. They bring out Jason. He is cute. He is tall. Liz gets up and gives him a big smooch. Ed looks like he wants to erupt, but he's keeping his cool. And so he's hugging her, and he's like, no more crying, okay? And he sits and he looks at Ed, and he's like, you're out of our lives after today.
After today, you're in the past. We're going to move forward. Starting today, you will never disrespect her again. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with me.
After today, you're in the past. And you guys, I started crying, laughing, because Big Ed is just like, he's like, I wish you the best, buddy. Oh, I forgot to mention that they had brought out Liz's mom to rehash that breakup scene where they were packing things up. So she's already on stage. And when Jason pulls up, she is glowing. Like, he's the best thing since sliced bread. I love him. It's night and day, him and Ed. And Big Ed is just revolting, okay? He's like, good luck, man. Good luck. Don't sweep things under the rug, you know. Whatever issues you have, don't sweep it under the rug. And Jason's like, we're good. We're adults. We've had conflict, what, like twice? And we figured it out like adults. Big Ed is like, I'm just telling you, don't sweep things under the rug, or it can be you here next time. And Jason's like, nah. And what I want to highlight in this moment is that Jason is like holding Liz, like, that's my woman, but then also holding hands with her mom. And it is so sweet, but also so funny and can be performative. I don't know. I thought it was kind of sweet, just how he was like protecting his ladies against the big bad Humpty Dumpty. But yeah, they revealed that they've been dating for 4 months. It's still early. They haven't made big plans for the future, but they are going to move in together. They plan on it in the next few months. And Ed again is like, good luck. Would I be making plans to move in with someone after 4 months, after I was engaged and in a volatile relationship? Probably not, but adults can do adult things and she can make that choice. I hope that it's healthy. I hope that he is as supportive as she says he is. I hope that he maintains that. I still hope that she looks into getting help just to heal from the situation with Ed, because it can manifest not only in her relationship, but just the way that she views herself, the things that she accepts. I just hope that it's real, you know, because it's very easy for them to appear united against a common enemy. Anyone can look great in comparison to Big Ed, you know? So I hope that, you know, behind the scenes, it is as real and as true as she says it is, just for her. But yeah, I hope that they're happy. I don't think that this is going to be the end of Big Ed and Liz for this tell-all. I think that we'll get more dirt. But for now, it's time for Jason and her mom to go. But before they do, Liz's mom is like, I don't hate you. I just think that you're going to go to purgatory hell. And like, that's just a fact, but I don't hate you. And Jason like kisses her goodbye and he's like, don't let him F with you. And I know that's right. Amp her up. She's going to need it because there's 4 more episodes of the tell-all and Big Ed isn't done with terrorizing Liz, which is awful, and I wish that there were more things in place to keep them separate. I understand that couples usually sit together, but they're no longer a couple. Why do they have them in the same couch? Why not just have them separate? Like, oh, Liz is strong, okay? But let's move on to Michael and Angela. This one was a lot. This one was hard. And I loved seeing everyone else's reaction because it confirmed for me that I'm not crazy in thinking that she is the devil. In that first day, when all of the couples are in the big mansion, it's getting late. They're all sitting together in the living room and they're like, where's Angela and Michael? They're not here. And ultimately they break the fourth wall and they're like, hey, are they coming? To the producers. And the producers is like, oh no, like they're not able to make it tonight. And everyone's like, did something happen? Like, are they not able to make it or they don't want to make it? And the producer doesn't say anything. It's pretty vague, but I think it's easy to make an assumption, right? And Emily says something that I was like, of course. So wise of you, Emily. She's like, she doesn't want us to talk to him. Think about it. The whole time Angela has been on the show, she's been a mouthpiece for both her and Michael because she's been the one party present and she's been a loud mouthpiece. So with Michael being here and having all of us, we would hear his side. And she can't really stop like 10 people from talking to him. So the best way to stop that is to just not have him there. And that was quite like a prophecy because that's exactly what happened. So we fast forward to the next day. Most people are in the green room. In comes Michael, and it's like they've seen a ghost. They're so happy to see him. He's here in the flesh. They honestly weren't sure if they were going to show up to the tell-all at all because they didn't show up at the house. And it's like, we're all contracted. We're all at the house. Like, why are you an exception? So they just thought that they weren't going to be there. But then Michael shows up. They're dapping him up. They're asking him why they didn't show. And he's like, it's a private matter, but we got into a misunderstanding. And Michael always says it's a misunderstanding. And we know what that means. We've seen it. It's been just crazy. There's been situations where she's thrown drinks at him and he's like, it's just a misunderstanding with me and my wife. So I'm scared to know what happened the night before. They pan to Angela getting out the car separately. She looks a mess. She looks like she's been through things. She's just like, things have been awful with Michael ever since he landed. And so she's in hair and makeup, and in comes Big Ed, and that's her bestie, and that should tell you everything. And she confesses to him. She's like, I didn't want him to be at the house because I feel like people always think that Michael is the good guy and I'm the wicked witch. And I just didn't want to have to deal with him being the good guy when he's not. Michael can be shady and you can be a witch, and that can both be true. Like, she's really clinging on to this, I got a bad edit, but it's like, they can't paint you as crazy if you're not being crazy. You're providing so much material. So there's that. But because Big Ed is her bestie, she goes even further. She's like, we slept in separate bedrooms at the hotel because we also sleep in separate bedrooms at home. Sure, it could be because they have issues, but didn't she also say that sometimes her grandchildren sleep with her? I'm sure that transition must be hard for them. And she probably kicked him out a few times. I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the reasons. She tells Big Ed, I think that he's here for the green card. He's been pressuring me to do the paperwork, but I'm not doing that because I feel like he's being shady. And again, it's like the thing that we were talking about with Jasmine and Gino. You brought this person here, okay? You had years, he's been acting the same for years. So then bring him here and be like, actually, you're going to do all the chores. You're not going to have any privacy. You're not going to be able to go to the bathroom with the door closed. You're not going to be able to do anything that I can't see. Yeah, you saying that you're not going to do the green card, for me, does read as a control issue, which she's not new to, I do think that Michael was with Angela for the green card. I have eyes. But that doesn't make it okay that she treats him the way she does. Whether you agree with what he did or not, it is cruel to bring someone under false pretense because she has things to gain too. But to bring him here and then be like, you get no freedom, you get no rights, you don't get to do anything for yourself. So I don't think that Gino has the same intent as Angela, but what they're doing is not okay. So it's clear that she's using the green card as like a card in her marriage. But then Big Ed is like, send him back. Send him back immediately. Don't look back. And I'm just like, this isn't some Amazon package. This is a human being. What do you mean send him back? Oh, I'm so happy Rose never came to America for that gremlin. This is how he views foreigners. And Angela's no different because she's like, yeah, he's not doing that on my watch. I'm no Chantel. I'm no Pedro. She's constantly throwing Chantel and Pedro's name out. I need Chantel to sue. Anyway, now it's time for Angela to make her entrance in the green room, and she's wearing a suit that looks like it's from the set of Mamma Mia, and a crown, a tiara. And this is her way of like marking her territory, which I think is funny with Jasmine in the room. But I'm also like, oh God, like she constantly is like, I'm the queen of TLC, I'm the queen of 90 Day Fiancé. And she walks in, fakely says hi to everyone, sits on the couch where Michael is, and then goes, why are you here? Why are you in my face? I told you not to get in my face. And goes off. And everyone's like, not shocked because she's being Angela, shocked that it took less than a minute for it to happen. It's crazy. She's like, get out of my sight. And I'm like, ma'am, this is a show that y'all are both in. He's supposed to be here. If anything, we've been long awaiting his presence. And people try to like, defend him. Rob particularly is like, well, if you want to know what he has to say, maybe like let him finish a sentence. And she's like, respectfully, I don't have a problem with you, but this is my husband. And she's going off, you guys. And I think it's funny, again, you need to freaking look in the mirror. Jasmine's like, I felt bad for him. I mean, she's not letting him speak. Girl, take a breath. Let him breathe. And I'm like, Jasmine, you and Angela can be cousins the way you act. Keep it cute and keep it mute. But it becomes clear that she's upset that he got there before her because she's like, he was probably working the room. He was probably being charming. So they all think I'm the Wicked Witch of the West. And she's like, tell them you're not a nice guy. Tell them how you haven't been sleeping with me for, was it like 2 months? Tell them that you won't touch your wife. And again, I'm like, what is it with these terrors thinking that they're entitled to intimacy from their partner? Like, it's just, like, if a man was saying this, everyone would be going ape shit. She's yelling, and she's like, all of these people think I'm crazy, and it's because of you, but I'm good-hearted.
You got all these people out there in the goddamn world thinking I'm a bitch, and I'm a good-hearted mother. You've treated me.
It's okay, Angela.
And I'm not a crier, but there's only so much I can take, and you've been a piece of.
And it's like, yeah, we can definitely see how good-hearted you are as you're yelling at Michael and anyone that will intervene. We can totally see. Yup. The one part that I was like, I feel for her in this instance, in this particular millisecond of a moment. Michael did cheat. He's no angel. He did online cheat while he was in Nigeria with a woman in the US, and apparently that lady lives in New Jersey. They film in New York, the mansion is in New Jersey. Yeah. So she's like, have her pick you up. Is that why you want to be separate? Because you want to see her? And Michael's like, no. So it's clear that the wheels are turning for her, but he hasn't said anything to get her worked up like that because he can't finish a sentence. So all of this is like self-inflicted. Like, she came in just like ready to fight, and it's just going to be a long tell-all because we haven't really even gotten to their segment yet. I don't know if that's going to be in episode 2 or 3, but she already has all this fire, and Rob is like, I'm not backing down from her. I'm not scared of her. I don't know if anyone else will step up to her, but yeah, it's wild. And so those were the big highlights in this episode. So far with the other couples, just like a little sentence on each. Emily is super pregnant. Her and Kobe don't really have drama. I think that they'll probably rehash the home thing later on, but they don't really have an issue. She's just cute and pregnant, and they're kind of just like instigating every other storyline. It's very funny. I really like them in that role. Ashley and Manuel, she just said that they're still going through the same cycle. They have blow up fights and they make up, so same thing. Patrick and Thais are judging everyone because they think they're perfect. I think that they're okay. I think that they're a little boring. I think that they work great together. But I think that they are a bit judgmental and act like their ish don't stink. And it'll be interesting to see them later on. Lauren and Alexi, same role that they usually play. Alexi says a comment or two, but for the most part, he's quiet. Lauren is adding her 2 cents into everything. I particularly love that she was on Big Ed's no neck's neck. She wasn't backing down on him. We know that there's an ongoing war with those two. Nicole and Mahmoud, it was touched upon that they weren't going to be in this tell-all. They didn't add anything else. I'm guessing they legally can't. And then lastly, Rob and Sophie, they arrived together, which was shocking because the last time we saw them, Rob broke up with her. Sophie got rid of that horrid blonde wig. It looks like she's rocking extensions, but mostly her beautiful natural hair, her natural color. She looks a million times better. She's such a beautiful girl. But they're in this car, again, leaving enough room for the Holy Spirit. And basically, they didn't start talking until like a few weeks before this tell-all. And they've been hanging out, but they're not back together. So imagine being in a situationship with your spouse. I'd rather eat pennies. That is so ridiculous. I'm sure we're going to touch upon it in upcoming episodes. Yeah, you guys, that was it for the tell-all part 1. This is so long. I'm going to figure out a way to be able to make this more concise, but it's just so much information I wanted to get to you. I would love to know your thoughts on part 1. There was so much happening. There were a lot of funny side comments. Let me know what your highlights were. It was impossible for me to highlight everything. So let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.